The cold, damp stone of the Tower of London pressed in, a silent, unforgiving witness to the countless lives that had been extinguished within its walls. For Elizabeth Tudor, then just 20 years old in 1554, the very air was heavy with unspoken threats, each breath a gamble. The iron bars cast shadows that danced like executioners' axes across her cell floor. Her half-sister, Queen Mary I, Henry VIII's eldest daughter, and a devout Catholic who had succeeded their younger half-brother Edward VI to the throne, believed Elizabeth a conspirator, implicated in Wyatt's rebellion. This uprising, led by Thomas Wyatt the Younger, was a Protestant rebellion against Queen Mary I's planned marriage to Catholic King Philip II of Spain.
Epic jawline.
And Elizabeth, as a Protestant heir, was feared to be its intended beneficiary. Though she maintained her innocence, her precarious position placed her life in grave danger.
You tell history like you survived it, barely, and with a grudge.
She was alone. She was 20. She was fighting for her life. Stripped of her liberty, held under lock and key, Elizabeth's future was a dark, swirling question mark. Yet, even in this chilling crucible, the powerful currents of her destiny, written in the cosmic tapestry and numerological blueprint, were already at work, preparing her for a reign that would defy expectation and endure through centuries. This is the story of a queen who wielded both worldly power and an unseen esoteric strength, navigating the treacherous waters of her era, guided by an intuition as profound as the planets themselves. Elizabeth Tudor entered the world on September 7th, 1533, in Greenwich, England. The daughter of King Henry VIII and the ill-fated Anne Boleyn, her birth was a political lightning rod, her legitimacy questioned, her very existence a gamble in the high-stakes game of dynastic succession. While the precise hour of her arrival in this earthly realm remains unrecorded, the celestial map of that day and the numbers that danced around her name set the stage for an extraordinary life. From a numerological perspective, Elizabeth's life path number was 1. This fundamental numerological calculation, derived from her birth date, proclaimed a destiny of unparalleled leadership, innovation, and fierce independence. Those embodying a life path 1 are not followers, they are pioneers, driven by an inherent ambition to forge their own path. Elizabeth, facing a childhood rife with uncertainty and the brutal execution of her mother when she was just 2.5 years old, on May 19, 1536, would indeed learn to stand alone. The sound of the axe falling echoed through her young psyche, teaching her that survival meant trusting no one completely, not even those who claimed to love her. This early declaration of illegitimacy and the shocking fate of her mother instilled a deep, pragmatic self-reliance. For a child whose moon was in Capricorn in the first house, her emotional core was already wired for self-preservation through utility. The moon, revealing her emotional landscape in the disciplined sign of Capricorn, sought security through tangible contribution. Its placement in the first house, governing outward personality, meant her emotional world was often visible. Yet she quickly learned to project a composed, even unyielding exterior to mask her inner vulnerabilities. Elizabeth's education was a testament to her innate abilities, reflecting her destiny number of 4. The destiny number illuminates one's natural talents and destined achievements. A 4 signifies a gift for structure, organization, and diligent building. Under tutors like William Grindal and Roger Ascham, she mastered 8 languages, her brilliant mind absorbing Greek philosophy and Latin poetry with equal hunger. This rigorous intellectual training, a direct manifestation of her 4 destiny, equipped her with the tools to meticulously dissect complex problems and build robust policies. She was destined to be a builder of nations, not merely a figurehead. The shadow of intrigue never truly left her. Her terrifying imprisonment in the Tower of London in 1554, accused of treason during Wyatt's Rebellion, where whispers in darkened corridors spoke of her as the Protestant hope, the rightful heir who would restore England to its Reformed faith, placed her squarely in the crosshairs of Catholic retribution. Her ability to navigate the dangerous currents of Mary's court, which was inherently hostile to the Protestant Elizabeth given the volatile religious and political climate, emerging from the Tower not broken but hardened and more determined, was a living testament to these profound astrological patterns, making her a true survivor of intrigue. This period profoundly solidified her Sun in Virgo in the 8th house and her Pluto in Aquarius in the 1st house. The Sun, her core identity in the 8th house of transformation and hidden realms, meant that her very essence was forged in the crucible of intense life-altering experiences. She was drawn to understanding power dynamics, trust, and renewal, often through confronting the very real threat of death. Her Pluto in the 1st house, radiating an intense magnetic presence, signified a relentless will to shape her identity on her own terms, often through deep personal metamorphosis. November 17, 1558. The great bells of Westminster rang out across a frostbitten London morning. Elizabeth, now 25, knelt in the ancient abbey as the weight of St. Edward's crown settled upon her auburn hair. The silk of her coronation robes whispered against the stone floor, but louder still was the cosmic alignment clicking into place. According to her essence chart, this pivotal year, 1557 to 1558, was in essence 1 year, signifying new beginnings, leadership, and independence. The very next year, her first full year as queen, 1558 to 1559, was in essence 3 year, representing growth, communication, and self-expression, a powerful cosmic signature for a newly crowned queen, beginning to articulate her vision and assert her authority. From this point forward, her personality number of 11, a master number, shone brightly. Master numbers amplify traits, and an 11 personality meant others perceived her as visionary, charismatic, and profoundly inspiring. This was Elizabeth's public allure, drawing people in with her unique insights and ideals, a magnetic aura that commanded loyalty. Her soul urge number, also 11, underscored her deepest motivations, a profound longing for spiritual insight, to be a channel for higher truths, and to inspire change on a grand scale. This fueled her unwavering commitment to England, which she perceived as a divinely ordained mission. It was this powerful inner conviction that led her to the candlelit chambers of John Dee, mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer, who served as her personal advisor in matters both earthly and celestial. Their consultations were intimate affairs conducted in Dee's library at Mortlake, where ancient texts lined the walls and celestial globes caught the firelight. Elizabeth would arrive quietly, often in disguise, her practical Virgo nature demanding concrete guidance even as her Jupiter-influenced wisdom thirsted for cosmic understanding. Dee would spread his charts across oak tables, his weathered fingers tracing planetary movements, while Elizabeth listened with the intensity of a general planning battle. Mars' opposition suggests delay, Your Majesty, he might whisper. Jupiter's protection remains strong. Her astrologically guided rule was not superstition but strategy, a unique fusion of rational governance and esoteric consultation that provided her with advantages her enemies could never anticipate. Elizabeth's iconic status as the Virgin Queen was a cornerstone of her reign, a powerful political and personal statement, deeply connected to her Lilith and Venus themes. Her Lilith and Aries in the 3rd house signified a deep, often unconscious, urge to assert herself fiercely and independently, rejecting conformity. But the personal cost was immense. Robert Dudley, her sweet Robin, had offered her a different life, one of genuine partnership and perhaps even happiness.
Robert had ambition, charm, and a mysteriously dead wife.
Their secret meetings in the palace gardens, the way her breath caught when he entered a room, the letters she wrote but never sent, all sacrificed on the altar of sovereignty. Complementing this, her Venus in Virgo in the 8th house shaped her approach to intimacy and love. The Virgin Queen archetype was her brilliant solution. It allowed her to maintain ultimate political authority while channeling her Venusian desire for deep connection into her metaphorical marriage with England itself.
You could take him.
I am already bound unto a husband, which is the kingdom of England, she declared, her voice carrying both triumph and the faintest echo of loss. The threats to her rule were relentless, testing every fiber of her survivor of intrigue nature. The Babington plot of 1586 brought the most agonizing decision of her reign. When the coded letters were finally deciphered, when the evidence of Mary Queen of Scots' complicity became undeniable, Elizabeth paced her privy chamber for 3 sleepless nights. Her Sun in the 8th house and Pluto in the 1st house endowed her with the resolve to make the impossible choice. On February 8, 1587, she signed Mary's death warrant with a trembling hand. The woman who had once shared her precarious position as a queen stripped of power would die.
She fled to Elizabeth for help. Cute. Like asking a shark for a life vest.
Elizabeth wept that night, not from weakness but from the terrible weight of decisions only a crown could demand. July 12, 1588. The Spanish Armada darkened the horizon like a thundercloud of death. Elizabeth, now 54, stood before her troops at Tilbury in gleaming armor, her voice carrying across the marsh. I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king. The salt spray from the channel mixed with her tears of fierce pride as English fireships scattered Philip's grand fleet. Her son, sextile Uranus, had allowed her to embrace the unconventional tactics that confounded the Spanish admirals, while John Dee's careful timing ensured the winds would favor England's cause. As Elizabeth entered her later years, legacy building consumed her thoughts. Her Jupiter in Sagittarius in the 12th house, exalted in its home sign, provided the foresight to see beyond her own mortality. The East India Company's charter in 1599 was signed with this cosmic wisdom guiding her pen, laying foundations for an economic empire that would outlast physical ones. Her Saturn in Cancer in the 7th house demanded structures that would endure, her marriage to England producing not children, but centuries of influence.
She called herself married to England. England never filed for divorce.
Yet the personal sacrifice deepened with age. The 9 years' war in Ireland drained both treasury and spirit, while her beloved Robert Devereux, 2nd Earl of Essex, stepson of her long-lost love Robert Dudley, became the final test of her cosmic patterns. Essex was everything her aging heart yearned for: brilliant, charismatic, 34 years her junior, and dangerously ambitious. He was the son she never had, the lover she could never claim, the successor she could never name. Their relationship embodied the tragic tension of her Venus in Virgo in the 8th house. Love that was transformative, intense, and ultimately destructive. When Essex's Irish campaign failed spectacularly, and he returned to court without permission, bursting into her private chambers where she sat unwigged and vulnerable, the cosmos demanded its price. His subsequent rebellion in 1601, his desperate attempt to force her hand politically, activated every pattern in her chart. Her Pluto in the 1st house demanded she choose transformation over comfort. Her Sun in the 8th house required her to face the death of what she loved most to preserve what she was destined to protect. On February 25, 1601, she signed his death warrant with the same trembling hand that had condemned Mary Queen of Scots.
Essex led a rebellion with the confidence of a man who owned no mirrors.
The life path one leader who must stand alone, the destiny number 4 builder who must choose structure over sentiment. Every cosmic signature aligned to demand this impossible sacrifice. When she signed his name, the girl who'd once giggled at his jokes died with him, leaving only the immortal Queen. March 24, 1603. Richmond Palace lay shrouded in early morning mist. Elizabeth, now 69, lay dying in a great bed, her rings too loose on fingers that had once commanded fleets. She had refused to name an heir until the final moments, her control absolute to the end. As her breathing slowed, courtiers whispered that she had achieved the impossible, a peaceful succession to James VI of Scotland, uniting the crowns at last. Her legacy-building monarch status was confirmed in death as in life. Westminster Abbey received her body, and in a final act of reconciliation she was laid to rest beside her half-sister Mary, two queens who had once been enemies, now united in eternal sleep. In the grand tapestry of Elizabeth I's life, every thread, from her Life Path 1 leadership to her Destiny Number 4 nation building, from her Master Number 11 vision to her exalted Jupiter's wisdom, had woven together to create not just a queen, but a legend. Her essence periods had marked each phase of transformation, from the vulnerable princess in the tower to Gloriana, the enduring symbol of England's golden age. Every decision, every sacrifice, every triumph resonated with the intricate patterns laid out by the cosmos. For 2 centuries, her accession day remained a national holiday, a testament to a woman whose path was uniquely her own, guided by an intricate cosmic design that shaped every action, every belief, and every profound sacrifice. She had lived as she had been born to live, alone, magnificent, and utterly unforgettable.
Be a doll. Hit like, say something clever, and subscribe. And if you got the taste and coin, the description box is waiting.